Yeah, thanks. So thanks for inviting me and giving the opportunity to briefly showcase a few of our activities. And I picked the topic for today's talk, which is a bit also focusing on our rather technical perspective on what to make open source and what not. So it will be a rather technical presentation. So forgive me for that. So here on this picture, you see basically what I call the family of our open formats and interfaces that we have at Zeiss. So there is not single one open interface, but there's a whole bunch of them. And I think I will focus mainly on those and see if time permits also briefly mention those and explain why do we have them and why I think at least some of them can be useful for the community as well. So let's start with our image file format. This is what everybody knows. This is produced by our microscope. So actually our CZI, by the way, was first. So is Carl Zeiss image format. I know. And this is an implementation of a public specification called ZISRAW. So ZISRAW is the actual specification. CZI is an implementation of that. And it's not something we keep as a secret, so if anybody's interested, you can have it. And it was designed to have like maximum compatibility with OMITIF and so on and so forth. And most important for today, obviously, it has public APIs for .NET, C++, and Python, too much size, to read and write CZI image data. And it's well supported by bioformats and even some community package built on top of it. So, and then let's go through those libraries and why they are there. So I think most importantly is our libCZI. This is a cross-platform library to read and write our images. It's on GitHub. Everybody can use it. You see the license. For commercial products, there's a commercial option available. And what it allows you to do with really high performance, read and write images, including the metadata. Feel free to use it. There are other libraries related to that library, and there's something called libCZI.net. Since not everybody is a big fan of C++ nowadays, so for instance, in our company, we mainly develop in .NET. There's also basically a libCZI for .NET. It can do the same things. Not every functionality of the C++ library is in, but again, here you see right-hand side, available on GitHub, documentation. Feel free to use it if it benefits your project and build something useful out of it. There are more. So next library, probably the most popular one in the science community, it's called pylibCZI read-write. This is something we developed initially as part of our endeavor to have our AI cloud platform. So all those libraries, by the way, we developed because of internal needs and then later decided to make it public. So it's not only because it's fun to have an open source library. This is really what we use on our cloud platform in everyday workflows. Therefore, we care about it. So it's based on the C++ stuff. It's basically a Python wrapper around our C++ library. And yeah, you can, again, not surprisingly, read 2D planes. You can read subsets of images. There's on-fly interpolation, things like this. You can read the metadata, and it works good enough that, for instance, the people from the Allen Institute built their BioIO CZI library on top of it. That's their default reader for CZI images now, which I think is a good sign. So it made me smile when I heard that. And it's on PyPy. Sorry, it's not yet on GitHub. Some legal issues have to be clarified. I'm working on it. But then there are not only those APIs to our image library, and this is in learning from, I would say, internal using those tools is, API is one thing, but related tools are super important too. For instance, the only way I could convince management to allow people to write CZIs was actually creating a not so shiny but very useful tool. It's called CZICheck. It's also available on GitHub. It's a command line tool. What it allows you to do if you have a CZI, no matter where it comes from, you can run a check on it, surprisingly, and it tells you if it's in principle okay. So if the metadata have the right structure, if there are any suspicious stuff going on. And this is super important because if you have long-running, highly expensive workflows, you don't want to sit in the end, oh, it doesn't work, and then in the end you found out for whatever reason you had a corrupted image data file. So we use it internally to chase down issues. I can only highly recommend you can use it as well. Again, it's available on GitHub. There's another tool, CZI Pyramidizer. So if you create your own CZIs, that's the tool you're going to use to add pyramids to it. It's again a command line tool, so that means you can easily integrate it in whatever workflow that you already have. Same thing, available on GitHub. Yeah, there is this not so much used tool anymore, CZICmd and CZICompress. So if you have legacy old CZI images, you can compress them afterwards from an UI or command line interface. By the way, all those tools really work on Linux, Windows, some of them also on Mac OS. Not everything yet. Okay, and then there are other tools we decided to make open source. This is called, those two libraries are called CZICmodel and CZICtile. We developed them as part of our machine learning, now AI deep learning products. They are both on PyPy, not on GitHub yet. And the idea was here, at Zeiss, we realized internally we need a standardized, I like standards, exchange format for our machine learning and AI models, so that product integration teams just can take a model and know what needs to be done to integrate it. And we find this useful. We made it public. So basically what CZICmodel is, it's Onyx model plus metadata packaged as a zip file, plus some tools around it. You can use it if you want. It's on PyPy. And to demonstrate that it works here, also in one of our internal hackathons, I said, let's create an Apari plugin. So that means you can train stuff on our cloud platform for segmentation, hopefully use it in our tools. But if you're a big fan of Apari, with the help of that plugin, just use it to demonstrate the interoperability of that. And CZICtile, it's a smaller side package. We found out that if you don't have a standardized package to do 3D and 2D tiling, at least at Zeiss, everybody develops their own. And this had to come to an end. Therefore, we developed CZICtile. And now we have implementations in Python and .NET, and the tiling is always the same to avoid artifacts. Feel free to use it. Obviously, there are other cool tiling libraries in the Python world as well. So I'm not claiming this is any better than the others. It's just what we use internally. And then last but not least, something which we just decided to make public, which is called Zen API. This is a bit now jumping in topic. This is an API that allows you to automate our Zen platform from the outside. It's not on PyPy yet, but there is already a Python package. So if you have a Zen system running, you can make use of it. So pip install Zen API. And the idea is basically you have Zen, then there is the Zen API gateway, and then you have this Python package that allows you to write your own external client. And it's not limited to Python, but that's the most popular one. So it's based on protofiles and gRPC, and most people want us to translate it into Python, but it can be also done in Java. It allows to monitor our system, including the pixel stream. So you can really stream into NumPy arrays with some throughput limitations. Cameras are just too fast, and you can control our system. It's very well suited for advanced applications like smart microscopy. So summary, so all those tools that I mentioned here, we use them in-house as well. And I think this is important for a company, so we care about them. So we invest time in it. And we develop those PubMed and open APIs to read and write CZI images, so every third-party tool can make use of it if they like it. Additionally, I mentioned those tools, which I think are important. It's not only the API. There are more public packages like CZICmodel and CZICtile to further expand our software ecosystem. And then, okay, I mentioned Zen API. And in the end, for me, this is the why, because the why is important. It's a bit buzzword collection, but forgive me. So I think really opening up formats and APIs, so publishing them is good for business and science, because it turns your product into a platform and compounds value through interoperability and network effects. This is really what I sometimes use in respective management meetings, and with mixed success so far. But I think I will work on it. Yeah, that is it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Sebastian.